So why don't we get started? And I'm curious to find out, what your definition of specifically the divine masculine. How would you define that as, from an energetic or from your point of view?
Well, I see it as part of not a tripod, but a duopod, I suppose you call it. And it's yeah, that's a great word. But it also doesn't really make sense unless you talk about it in context of the divine masculine. Neither the divine feminine won't work on its own. The divine masculine is impotent on its own as well. And I call them, to simplify them, I call the feminine the will and the masculine the action. And action doesn't have anything to do if there's no will behind it, and the will can't go anywhere. Nothing happens with the will if there's no action. But for men everywhere, they are definitely more in tune with action. There's certain genetic properties and intrinsic qualities in the male body that make it better at applying masculine energy.
Awesome. So what are some ideas or some, ways of us to more embrace fully that, the divine masculine, not coming from this kind of patriarchy type masculine, but more of this kind of divine where it's serving, our partners and the planet?
Well, in terms of collective consciousness, I do a bit of work on the global collective consciousness and do train people to help me with that. There's a lot of work to do. But the role of the masculine right now is trying to figure out what the hell the feminine wants. It's the feminine's going through this massive transition, this massive change, and the masculine, doesn't necessarily have any fixed points to relate to the feminine with. It's really tricky to figure out how to who the feminine isn't able to really define herself very strongly at the moment. And so how do we relate to that? And that seems to be the question of our generation. It's a thing that the discussion is always revolving around, or hopefully revolving around this. I think we've gone through phases. The whole decision to change the way that human males and human females relate to each other. This whole masculine feminine debate. It went through its periods of anger and aggression, and there's still elements of that victim-aggressor consciousness in feminism, but I'm really liking the fourth wave in that they want to sit down to the table finally and try and figure out what the model for male human relations are. It really gives me a lot of heart to see that coming together.